going to call the meeting to order, please.
That was definitely not, that was not.
I'm going to call the meeting to order, please, at 7 p.m. If we could please rise for the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, and welcome to our August 25th business meeting of the Milford Board of Education. May we have a roll call vote, Ms. Fleming, please?
Yes.
Roll call for attendance.
Yes. Megan Doyle.
Here.
Scott Vermender.
Present.
Tracy Irby.
Here.
Tom Koba.
Mr. Koba is excused.
Laura Mahler.
Here.
Adam Scobie.
Here.
Christina Preet.
Here.
Mike Smith.
Here.
Cindy Boyd.
Here.
Susan Glennon.
Here.
Okay. We have 9 members present.
Thank you. All right, our student representatives will start up next month, so we'll go right into public comment. Speakers may offer objective comments about school operations and programs. The board encourages speakers not to express personal complaints or defamatory comments about the Milford Board of Education personnel or any person associated with Milford Public Schools. Security issues and matters relating to negotiations and grievances will not be permitted. Consistent with the principles of the Federal Education Right to Privacy Act, discussion of students is prohibited absent parental waiver. Public comment does not allow for two-way conversation between speakers and the board, but we welcome and appreciate your comments and opinions, and all will be taken into consideration. Please note our meetings are televised and live streamed on YouTube, and we ask that you state your name and address for the record and limit your comments to 3 minutes. Do we have anybody this evening who'd like to address the board? Podium is here.
Hello, I'm Frank Tucker, President of the Milford Education Association, our teachers union, 326 West Main Street. I just wanted to introduce myself to the board and say I'm looking forward to working with administration, with all of you going forward. You know, we've got a great relationship and I'm really happy to be working with everyone. And hello, that's it.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening. I don't know if I'm going to be speaking out of turn. Kathy DeFonso, 9 Fowler Terrace, Milford, Connecticut. I noticed in many of my retired neighbors also noticed signs around foreign prohibiting public access during school hours. And of course they came running to me and I said, okay, I'll go. But the question was enforceability. Is there a statute or is there an ordinance? And I do understand and totally appreciate and commend another layer of insulation and protection for our students, having taught Milford for 43 years, but nonetheless, they want to know the viability of these signs, and I do too. And as an inveterate dog walker there, I'd also like to know about that too. Are sidewalks off limits? Course.
So this is not a question and answer period, it's just a
Gotcha.
public comment, and
Okay.
I would suggest that you might contact the superintendent's office to
Okay.
get your questions answered about that specifically.
Can do. Okay, cool, thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else wish to address the board for public comment this evening? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on. A paper packet, please. A paper packet. Chair's report. I would like to welcome everyone back from the summer break, board members. A reminder, we go back to our normal board meeting schedule now, the 2nd and 4th Monday of the month, barring any holidays. So September 8th will be our next business meeting. We have had a break from our policy works, but expect that to begin again in earnest. Exciting. We have again an executive session tomorrow to continue the review of the consultant proposals. That's at 6 p.m. And as I said, it will be held in executive session. General reminder regarding the long-range facilities planning work. We're in the process of selecting a consultant who will begin by evaluating the reports that have already been completed and discerning first whether we have available and viable land for any new school construction we might want to consider. No decisions are on the immediate horizon, and early next year, as it's expected that we'll have more information, and there will be many other opportunities for community input at that point. Convocation for the beginning of school will be held Wednesday morning at 8 a.m. at the Jonathan Law Auditorium. Convocation, as you know, celebrates the official start of the new school year. Students return on Thursday, and I'm sure everyone is ready and anticipating a great year. And we are here to wish everyone good luck. Do we have any liaison reports from board members? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to superintendent's report. Dr. Putaya.
Thank you, Ms. Glennon, members of the board, and yes, we are back today, super excited. There was an incredible, I know this is not on the agenda, but I have to just share that incredible energy across the district, so thank you for asking. Tonight's agenda is quite full, and we typically spend some time in the evening of this first meeting in August celebrating and introducing some new administrators to the district, so we'll go ahead and start with that. You might have noticed a new face at the board table. Mr. Tom Zenowitz takes the role of Director of Pupil Personnel Services. We are so grateful for Tom to be joining our team as a cabinet member. Tom comes to us with over 15 years of experience. His background includes serving as a social worker for multiple districts, assistant special education department leader for Southington Public Schools, and assistant director of special services at Ansonia Public Schools. In his more recent role at Ansonia, Mr. Zenowitz oversaw a comprehensive pre-K through transition special education program, so he has a full breadth of experience. He took initiative and co-facilitated the district-wide social and emotional learning committee, collaborated with instructional coaches and building leaders to use data-driven instructional rounds that provided targeted feedback aligned to district expectations for high-quality teaching. And in doing so, he helped establish a culture of reflective practice there. Mr. Zenowitz began his career in 2007 as a social worker for New Canaan Public Schools. He later held similar roles at Indian Mountain School, a boarding school in Lakeville, Connecticut, and Southington Public Schools. He's worked closely with teachers, support staff, and administrators to build inclusive student-centered classrooms and has led district-wide initiatives to enhance instructional practices. Mr. Zenowitz received his Bachelor of Science degree in Human Development Family Studies and a Master of Arts in Social Work and a 6-year degree in Certification in Educational Leadership from Quinnipiac University. We're so glad that he brings all that experience and skill set to our team. Welcome, Tom.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Thank you, everyone.
Second individual we'd like to introduce this evening is a member that fills a position that this board actually supported and helped create, knowing the almost 1,300 staff members that we support across the district, and that is the role of Associate Director of Talent Management and Development, filled by our very own Kim Vigil. Kim is with us this evening. Kim is bilingual in both English and Spanish and has over 20 years experience in education as a world language teacher. She began as a world language teacher and the department chair at Joseph A. Foreign High School in 2023 with us. And before joining Milford, Kim was a Spanish teacher and content lead at Amity Middle School, and she earned her Bachelor of Science degree in Spanish from Southern Connecticut State University in 2003, her Master of Science degree in Spanish from Central Connecticut, and her 6-year certification in teaching from Sacred Heart University. It was a struggle getting her out of Mr. Berkowitz's grip last spring. But we are so grateful to have an education representative among the many talented individuals led by Ms. Kapazna in the Talent Management Development Department. And we know that having one of our very own join that team in understanding classroom and marrying that with the expertise and longevity of leadership under Ms. Kapazna is the just right team to take on the next level of work that we're looking forward to. So welcome, Kim.
Thank you.
Whenever we can poach great talent from other districts, we're happy to do that, as represented by a few of the names on the list this evening. So we are happy to introduce to you, board members, the new Calf Pen Elementary School principal, Ms. Anna Maria Simonelli. Now, we may have the same name, but it is not to be confused. I'm Anna, and she is Anna. And little known fact, through the age of 5, I was known as Anna Maria. And then everyone butchered that. So I commend you for holding on to Anna Maria. And we both spell it the same way. So Anna Maria comes to us with 10 years of experience. She's been a kindergarten and dual language teacher at Fairhaven School in New Haven, and even a literacy instructional coach at the school. More recently, Ms. Simonelli was assistant principal of a Hamilton Avenue School in Greenwich. She held that position since 2021, where she supported staff in delivering best instructional practices led by curriculum development and facilitated work to reach goals for social emotional learning. As a result of her deep commitment there to support student growth and development, Ms. Simonelli earned the Greenwich Public Schools District-wide Difference Maker Award in February of this year. Ms. Simonelli received her Bachelor of Science degree in Sociology with a minor in Spanish and a Master of Arts in Teaching and a 6-year degree in Certification in Educational Leadership from Quinnipiac University. And yes, I do believe that Mr. Zenowitz and Ms. Simonelli are from the same graduating class at Quinnipiac University. And I know this firsthand from my own personal observations that Ms. Simonelli has very quickly acquired a motif in fashion, more black and white, cow print looking clothes, and maybe even shoes, but maybe not this evening. But very quickly has fit into the Calf Penn Meadow School community. Welcome, Anna Maria. So this individual, I said, I don't care that she's been around for decades. We have to recognize Ms. Swanson as the new principal of East Shore Middle School. This is a familiar face to the Board of Education. Lisa Swanson has been with us for over 3 decades, right? Lisa started your teaching here, and a career that has demonstrated such great value and added so much to our young people and teachers. She's been a teacher and an educational leader stemming back to 1994, starting in the classroom as a math teacher at Foreign High School. In 2012, though, Ms. Swanson transitioned into a leadership role as a PK-12 supervisor of math and business for the district, and then in 2019, moved to a 612 science, technology, engineering, and math instructional supervisor. In her role, she reviewed, revised, and developed district curriculum to ensure alignment with state and national standards. And she also played a key role in writing and overseeing the Perkins Grant, a federal initiative that helps us make movement and career and tech educational programs for our young people. Ms. Swanson graduated from Marymount College in 1994 with a Bachelor of Science degree in math and secondary education. She went on to earn a Master of Science degree in Special Education from Southern in 2000, a Master of Arts degree in Thinking and Learning from the Graduate Institute in 2010, and earned her Educational Leadership Certification from Quinnipiac University in 2013. And I was just talking to her, and each time I check in, I'm like, are you still pinching yourself? I know that you're loving your new role, and we're so glad that you landed there at this part of your career. Welcome back, Lisa.
Thank you.
Well, speaking of STEM, we have 2 new leaders in the STEM world, in the world of instructional supervisors. We are so grateful to welcome Stephanie Corrado as the instructional supervisor for PK STEM in science, technology, engineering, and math for the school district. Stephanie comes to us with over 15 years experience, and she held many roles in the field of education, including a math educator, a leader of professional learning workshops, and a developer of curriculum. Prior to coming to Milford, Stephanie was the Associate Director of Learning, Innovation, and Development for Region School District 13. In that role, she led K-12 curriculum development and implementation. A key part of her work was developing a personalized math instruction approach. Stephanie collaborated with teachers, principals, and district leaders to establish clear goals and assessment measures to track progress and make data-informed decisions. Before her the more recent role, Stephanie served as the Math Specialist Technology Integration Specialist at Clinton Public Schools, where she earned the Connecticut Presidential Award for Excellence in Math and Science Teaching. Stephanie earned her Bachelor of Science degree in elementary education with a concentration in math from DePaul University and a Master of Arts degree in educational leadership from Central Connecticut. She holds a 6-year degree in certification in evaluation and supervision from Sacred Heart University, and her thesis centered on the flipped classroom model, in which she was named one of the top 100 educators worldwide. And you can see the quality and value she's bringing to Milford Public Schools. So welcome, Stephanie.
Thank you.
And finally, someone who hasn't been on the job 11 hours now, right? Yes, just about 11 hours. Mr. Adam Apicella takes on the role of 612 STEM Instructional Supervisor. Welcome, Adam. He actually led professional learning today on his first day with us. With over a decade of experience in education, Mr. Apicella has a strong foundation in both teaching and administrative roles, bringing a multifaceted perspective to the work. His background includes serving as a math teacher at Coventry Public Schools and an assistant principal at Haddam Killingworth High School. In his more recent role as the assistant principal, which he assumed in 2019, Adam oversaw all aspects of building operations, supervised the STEM, family and consumer science, physical education, health, art, music, and world language departments, and developed 9th grade science pathways. He served on many committees for Region 17, including the Data Team, Steering Committee, Instructional Vision for Learning, Increasing Educator Diversity, and the AI committees. Mr. Apicella began his career in 2013 as a math teacher for Coventry Public Schools. He earned his Bachelor of Science degree in math and a Master of Arts degree in curriculum and instruction from the University of Connecticut. He also holds a certification in the Intermediate Administration from Sacred Heart University. Welcome to the team, Adam.
Thank you.
I hope the board and the public can hear and see the highest of qualifications that we are able to attract to leadership roles here in Milford. We're already feeling the great benefit of these incredible leaders in these roles. So it's a huge welcome that we extend to all of our new leaders.
Thank you. Welcome.
Welcome.
Hope you all enjoyed your time here. And just to clarify, these are all positions that are filling, people that are filling vacancies in positions that already existed.
Yes, ma'am. Yep.
Great.
Thank you. Well, welcome, and I'll let Dr. Kutaya do the honors of letting you go.
See, we have a really cool board. A really cool board. We assume that this is an incredibly hectic week for all
Busy day
leaders
tomorrow, too.
and teachers. So do not feel compelled to stay for this part of the meeting, because it is going to be a lengthy meeting, but we know that you guys have it on early morning, so you should not feel compelled to stay. Bye, everyone. Bye.
Basically.
Thank you, Ms. Glennon. They are long days right now.
I know.
At this time, we welcome Ms. Eileen Faustich to present to you the food service financial report, as we typically do this time of year. Ms. Faustich, all up to you.
Good evening. I'm here to present the financial report for the food service program from July 1, 2024 through June 30th, 2025. As you may know, our program is a self-supporting program that is a nonprofit, and we are funded primarily from federal funds for each meal that we serve, and also some state grants, and then also from parents that pay for their students to purchase meals and snacks. We serve nutritious, appealing, affordable meals. We're regulated heavily by the USDA and the State Department of Ed. We offer free and reduced price meals for students, as well as, we call them paid meals, but it's just to make the point, every meal is reimbursed by the federal food school meal program, just at different levels. So we ended this year with a deficit of $230,000 that in our program are specific to the food service program. We can carry balances from one year to the next. So a couple of years ago, we increased our fund balance, and now we're utilizing it to spend on equipment and other things, and to moderate the increases in lunch prices for families. So it's definitely going, any deficit, it comes out of our fund balance that we can accrue over time and have for many years. One of the things I wanted to point out to you from a funding standpoint is, 2 years ago, we received funding to allow all students to eat free breakfast. And during that time, we get paid for, reimbursed for all the meals that we sell. We don't get a block grant of money, but in that year, we sold a lot of breakfasts. So we got $400,000 from reimbursements for breakfast. And now, because all the students took advantage of it, and families, I believe, felt it was a good value. Last year, they eliminated free breakfast for all. They gave us funding for free and reduced price. So it's 30 cents for breakfast, 40 cents for lunch, and it totaled up $17,000 in change for the program. Still benefits those who qualify for reduced price meals, but certainly doesn't support the program like it had in the past. Next year, there's no reimbursement for to subsidize the reduced price either. So in terms of like an average per day, 2 years ago, we served almost 1,100 meals on average for breakfast a day. Last year, it went down to just under 700. Lunch was fairly steady. It was $25.49 on average 2 years ago. Last year, it went down to $24.79. So what are we gonna do in 2025? We're planning to increase the locally grown foods and promoting them. Although you may have heard in the news that federal funds were eliminated for farm-to-school programs, the state is funding some farm-to-school locally grown grants. I don't know what that's gonna be yet, but they definitely are trying to step up and help us with federal to replace the lost funding from the federal government. We're also controlling our food costs. We had some trouble with our commodities last year, that some of our commodities, that's another way that they help support the program the government does. USDA gives us a number of, it's probably about $170,000 a year to purchase government commodities in a special way. And last year we were cut short. They canceled trucks of cheese and chicken, so we ended up paying the full price for our products that we didn't anticipate. So that kind of added to kind of the troubles from last year. We will limit some of the equipment purchases. We've done a lot of replacing a lot of refrigeration over the past few years, and kind of moderate how we're going to move forward in replacing equipment and repairs. And of course, we're going to replace and repair things that need to be repaired, though. We're increasing marketing and student engagement. We're gonna offer a la carte sales at all grade levels. Right now, we only offer it at the high school and the middle school, but we're gonna add it back into the elementary this year. And we plan to increase our lunch prices. So the lunch prices have increased. The numbers I have here are 25 cents at all grade levels. And does anyone have any questions?
Mr. Smith?
When you say that the government canceled different contracting and purchasing for the cheese and chicken trucks, what quarter was that of this year? Or this, like, school year spans to, I guess, calendar years. What month of the calendar year did they cancel the?
January.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Wolf-Whiten?
When you were talking, you mentioned about looking at what kind of equipment might need to be replaced. Is there some equipment that you're worried about?
We did a lot of refrigeration. There is some of our other refrigeration, some of our larger refrigeration is gonna need some attention, but nothing imminent at this point.
Okay, I'm just curious, is this something that we're worried about based on, you know, where we might be budget-wise? Is it something we have to keep
I
on our
think it's a
radar?
longer-term thing to think about. I think we're okay this year. I think
Okay.
it's something that we have to plan for.
Okay, thank you.
Ms.
Mr. Rowe?
Point, if you recall, last year, we made a number of equipment replacement decisions, so I think that's what we're referring to, is just some longer-term planning there.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Doyle?
Thank you. I'm looking at the financial report that you had provided in advance, or was part of our agenda. I don't see what's left in the fund balance that you have been carrying over. I know there was a decent balance, but I don't see it on here, and I just could be missing it.
It isn't on here, and it is just under 3 months operating expenses.
Okay, that's usually what you've done. And so, because you had more than 3 months before,
Right.
and that's where all the equipment you were focusing on
We
now.
have to, we are only allowed to keep 3 months operating expenses
Okay.
on hand, then we have to spend it, so. Any other questions?
Ms. Mueller?
To follow up on that part, I know you've told us before about the 3 months operating expenses in the excess fund, and then above that, roughly, and then above that, you spend it. When you dip into it as significantly as the 230 that you were telling us about, what is left in that fund to start this year?
Just under 3 months.
So that
So it's-
230 that covered it was excess above what you're trying to hold in
Yes.
that 3 months? So that we still do have that 3-month cushion for
Yes,
whatever
just
may
under
come up?
3 months cushion,
Okay, that
yes.
didn't put such a deficit into it that we need to build that back up in any kind of?
No, and, you know, I think an increase in pricing is, a 25-cent increase is a significant increase, and I don't, you kind of run the risk of if you increase it too much, participation can fall off.
Absolutely, which we
So-
saw with the changes in the
Right.
grants and the different things that
Right.
were coming. Following up on Mr. Smith's question, I think it was the USDA commodities contracting that you were talking about that changed in January when new people were in charge of the USDA all of a sudden, and things were moving and changing. Are those back online where they were before, or is it now a new normal structure that you are under with regard to accessing those commodities now? Is it back the way it was? What's the current structure for
So
that?
part of it was a transition from, they allocate to us
Mhm.
commodity dollars based on our prior year's participation. So coming out of the pandemic, everyone had higher, or not everybody, but we and many others had higher participation, higher numbers. So in their forecasting, they were anticipating giving us, for that to continue. But for us that went back to the paying model like it used to be, we had less numbers. And in the middle of the year, they just decided that they were over budget and they stopped purchasing the cheese. And we just happened to have a lot of cheese that was in that purchase. I
Right.
don't think it happened in January, but I don't think it was anything to do with the
But it
current
wasn't,
administration.
it wasn't planned, it wasn't intended,
It
you
wasn't
didn't know
planned,
it
it
was
wasn't
coming.
intended. I
and
think they had to cut their budget.
Have they gone back and, obviously, they haven't reimbursed for any of those really unexpected costs that got dumped on you at the start of the calendar year, in the middle of the school year, in January,
Right.
when all sorts of things were in transition. Have any of those contracts or those reimbursements, as you were saying, they were over budget, for whatever reason, they decided to cut that, they told you it's because they were over budget. Have they gone back, and now going forward, is any of that back, or are you still at those reduced, everything was cut in January, are we still in that current state, or has it changed for the new school year?
Well, it changes every year. We have to.
Sure.
They give us the dollars and we have to order for the upcoming year in March. And we got, the pile of money was less. I think they had,
Okay.
a couple of years ago, because our accounts had gone up so much, it was over 200,000, and now it's back to like the 170. So we're kind of transitioning back to the old model.
Okay.
But I hope that doesn't happen again. It has
Sure.
never happened, honestly. I've never, ever had that happen
There were,
in many years. So I'm hoping that it's not gonna happen. They did give us a little bit of money back, but nothing to the extent that was lost.
yeah, I think there were a lot of expected, planned on, this is the way we normally do things, federal contracts that all of a sudden got very much cut earlier this calendar year and caught a lot of people off guard, and it sounds like that's yet again another way that the district had to pay for it. So appreciate you and your staff adjusting and accommodating for that unexpected rug pull, if you will, that I think was occurring in a lot of places across the federal government. So thank you.
There's a lot of moving parts always, so.
Quite a few, yes. Sometimes they move sideways.
This is true.
Yeah, but thank you for adjusting.
Other questions? I did want to ask, we had gotten in some information about, I guess it's mandated, but a composting program. Is that being managed from your department, or?
No.
Yeah, I can
that's not
speak
my
to that a
area.
little bit if you had questions on that. So there is some new legislation on that there's certain requirements, like if you're X number of miles away from a composting facility and you produce X tonnage from a standpoint of a year, then you are required to start composting. So this legislation goes into effect for the actual beginning of next school year. So
Oh, okay.
it starts, it's either July or August of the next school year. So we actually started this in collaboration with our principals, collaboration with the city, Pat Bradbury, the facilities department. We've been looking at how do we get this up and running at the beginning of this year so that our students become accustomed to it, so we're not just up and running at the beginning of next year. So we've actually started in our middle schools for the start of this year, and we have a different area where they can now see a quick visual of like, here's what would go in this trash can, here's what would go in this one, here's what would go in here. We're recycling into a couple different areas. One is the composting, one is recyclable materials like cans and bottles, and then the other one is just for the regular trash.
Okay.
And so it's gonna be a phased-in approach that's gonna happen throughout this school year, and that way we'll be up and running already before next school year.
All right, thank you. Any other questions then from Ms. Bostich?
I just wanted to just give you just a couple another note on next year. So next year we have new limits on added sugar for breakfast cereals, yogurt, and flavored milk. Some of these don't really affect what we're serving because they've already been in compliance, but I thought I'd just make you aware of those. And the project we have been working on, which is a menu planning system that we purchased, so we can plan the menu. Financially, we can plan it as well as meeting all the requirements nutritionally that we need to meet. It also provides an area where we have production for my staff so that they can produce it and meet all the compliance guidelines that they need to meet. And then finally, it is an area for families and nurses to be able to get better information on a more timely basis. So the menus are available at least the first 2 weeks of the year. I don't know how to use this. Do you know how to turn on the link that I have in the presentation? All right, so the menus are, I haven't turned it on for all the schools, but you will be able to get more information from the website. It won't be a PDF anymore. Parents will be able to go in, you choose Milford, Connecticut, and you choose your school and what menu you want to look at. And so this is August elementary. It just has Meadowside because that was my test this summer. But you'll be able to see, is that a touchscreen, Louis? Or is that just the, no, okay. Would you mind just on the right-hand side of the screen, there's a print menu area. So parents can come in and you can choose what menu you want to see. You can get it in, let's see, you can look at it by month, by week. You can select the language, it's all Google translatable. You can print it any way you would like. And can you go into nutrients, down at the bottom of the screen on the right, third one up from there? So you can select what you want to, what's interesting to you. For the nurses and many parents, they need to know the carbohydrate counts for diabetics. So you can print the menu, you can get the carb counts on there, and then you can drill down into each item so that you can see the, you know, exactly what product it is, what nutrients there are, the ingredients, and so forth. So I just wanted to give you a quick preview of that. And I'm working with Emily to get things linked on the website, so.
Great, very nice.
Any questions?
Any questions on that from Ms. Fostich?
That's great.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. It seems like a nice addition.
Yeah, I'm hoping, and I think by having timely information to everybody without having it, a menu in multiple places, because we can stumble when we have to type it in different places. So I think this is gonna really work out well for everybody.
Thank you.
We'll be moving on to the instructional highlight at this time, board members. I'm going to turn things over to Mr. Altieri so he can provide you with the annual summer curriculum and professional learning update. So over to you, Mr. Altieri.
Thank you, Dr. First, teaching and learning instructional highlight of the school year, probably one of my favorite two, because I get to share with you the great work that our team has been doing over the last few months as we enter into the school year. So tonight is really an update on curriculum and professional learning work that we are doing in district. So I will not go through every item on the slide, but as I did last school year, I provided for you a comprehensive list of all of the curriculum projects that have been completed throughout the summer, aligned to the years of our curriculum cycle. Even with budget reductions across these lines, we were still able to identify our priorities and continue the curriculum work with our educators. And we're able to get curriculum development done across just about all of the content areas this summer. So we will be working on the next 5-year draft of our curriculum revision process as we're entering the last year of the current cycle. We also had the opportunity, and thank you to the board members that came out to support us with HQI Live Season 6. Fantastic summer, a lot of energy in the room around HQI Live. 65 educator participants, including teachers, coaches, administrators. We were joined by a team from the Amity Public Schools, came out to see what HQI Live was all about. And we focused on 3 themes this summer. Belonging, which was a continuation of our work around high expectations from HQI Live Season 5. Consistency, which again is all about making sure that every student receives access to high quality instruction. And coherence, which is really that alignment of systems and practices across to make sure that there is a unified instructional experience. We had 3 classrooms this summer. Elementary social studies, which was facilitated by Lauren Aliberti. STEM and music, which looked at the combination of musical instruments with the production of sound. And that was facilitated by Kevin Walsh and Betty Cragen. And then our high school civics, which was facilitated by Austin Caesar and supported with an instructional coach, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a second, Bonnie Etents. We had a total of 10 adult learning facilitators who supported not only the adult learning component, but also one of our new structures this summer, and that was our professional learning pathways. I'll share that with you in a moment, along with our 5 host teachers. And very exciting, one of the goals that I think Dr. Kataya and I have been trying to get to is this was the first year that we were fully teacher-led. So our teachers planned, delivered, and actually went through and set up all of our workshops and all of our staff experiences. So it was great to see our teachers leading that work. As I mentioned to you, we had a new component in the afternoons this year. We are continuously reviewing the surveys. We are always trying to be responsive to the needs of our staff, and our staff have asked for more opportunities to customize their professional learning. So this year we introduced professional learning pathways, of which we had 5 total. We had 1 around formative assessment, 1 around keeping students in flow, and when we talk about flow, we're talking about this kind of balance between work where students are frustrated versus where there is the right level of challenge. We had a pathway around belonging, access, and opportunity, which has been a theme across the district from last school year going into this year. And questioning, which we refer to as thinking prompts. Again, we're focused on opportunities to let our students make their thinking visible. And I had the wonderful opportunity to actually facilitate a leadership for learning pathway with our district leaders. And we talked about how do we lead for high quality instruction across all of our classrooms. I do want to point out the picture on the right. You will notice Mr. Caesar and Bonnie Etense in the front of the room. And this was the first time that we had integrated an instructional coach into our HQI learning space. And it was really an awesome experience to be able to see both Bonnie and Austin co-planning and co-facilitating the learning of our students during that time. And Austin had such terrific feedback around the opportunity to be able to work with a coach, which is not something that our high school educators have had the opportunity to do on a regular basis. So it was a terrific opportunity to be able to see that. And it just continued to support the work that we do around our responsiveness of teaching through our instructional coaching model here in district. And it all comes back to this document that you've seen before, our model for high quality instruction. It's not a curriculum, it's not a thing. This really defines the core system of values and beliefs around what we believe instruction should look like across every instructional space in district. Again, these are research-based strategies. These are strategies that we're looking to make sure that support high-quality instruction for all of our students. And this is really what drives the work around that HQI week and going into the school year. We also had a summer literacy institute right after school got out, and we actually went a 5-day workshop this summer. We had a total of 39 MPS teachers who participated. 27 of them were elementary school teachers, 8 middle, and 6 high school. The first 3 days were teacher-based, and the last 2 days of the workshop were for instructional coaches. And we really we took a content area focus and applied the context of vocabulary, reading, and writing to the first 3 days. During the 2 coaches days, we were then able to elaborate further on our model for student-centered coaching, which we introduced last year, really building on the problem-solution approach that we began through our elementary visioning work last year. So it was a great opportunity to continue to think about student-centered coaching from the lens of literacy. And just reminding the board, again, when we talk about reading, vocabulary, writing, we come back to the work that we introduced to you last school year around the science of reading and the 5 core tenets of the science of reading. Again, as we go kind of around the pie pieces, at the top, the phonemic awareness is that ability to manipulate sounds. That builds into phonics, which is the letter sound correspondence, tied to vocabulary, which is now where we start to apply words to meaning. And then fluency is now where we start to think about reading text accurately and with speed. The comprehension piece, which ties it all together, is now where students are able to interpret meaning from a text. And the piece that's not really communicated on here, if you think about the box as a whole, is writing. We really took a stance and are continuing to do work around supporting writing about reading as one of the core elements of the literacy process. We also talk about systems for coherence and professional learning. And I want to remind you of the fact that just like any other profession, whether it's medical doctors, lawyers, the need for professional learning continues to exist. And we actually took and pulled the definition of a profession. And if you pull out some of the language from here, you see specialized knowledge, you see advanced education, but most importantly, you see continued high-level training. So this requires opportunities for job-embedded, ongoing professional learning throughout the school year that allow educators the opportunity for strategy acquisition, practice as well as coaching. And that could be coaching from a colleague, that could be peer-to-peer coaching. But really, in order for educators to tie those strategies to actual practice in the classroom, they need those opportunities for repetitive and embedded learning to occur. So we really thought about a professional learning model, and you saw this diagram last August when we came together, where we look at all of our professional learning day structures. And we have the opportunity to try to think about what each of those elements of our professional learning model are. And again, want to remind you that as we look at whether it's the 90-minute opportunity for data collaboration, the 1-hour structures around building-based professional learning and teacher support networks, which I'll share with you in a few moments, we want to make sure that we have an infrastructure that supports that ongoing professional learning. And we emphasize, and started to really emphasize this last year, the connection and the hybridization of content with strategy. Lastly, we want to make sure there's opportunities for teachers to come together to work on analyzing data, solving problems of practice, but most importantly, developing those new teaching strategies collaboratively. And our work really focused over the summer at looking at our data collaboration structures and our teacher support networks. That was work that we started last year or this past year and wanted to continue to build off of. As I mentioned to you, you'll notice the cycle here, where all those elements kind of come together to drive professional learning. And as we did last year, we started back in June at our leadership retreat, actually mapping out our professional learning for the entire school year. So from August all the way through June of 2026, we have made sure that all of the elements that you see here occur in these cycles. So along with the data work, there's opportunities for the early release work around our HQI strategies. There's opportunities for teachers to come together in these teacher support network groups. And we made sure that that happens on these cycle basis. So I mentioned teacher support networks a little while ago to you. And we believe here in Milford that every teacher is a leader of their own learning. And that while giving a stand and deliver professional learning or professional learning opportunities from consultants is one piece of the opportunity for learning, teachers also learn from each other. And we wanted to make sure that within our model, we gave that opportunity for educators to come together and pursue something professionally that was of interest to them. So this year, we piloted last year the opportunity for teachers to form these teacher support networks. This year, we wanted to provide a little more definition to what some of those opportunities could look like. And we took best practices from the work that our educators did last year. So in addition to things like book discussion, teachers engaged in professional learning webinars. We also had groups that came together and did small committees where they developed instructional resources together. And we wanted to make sure that this was a way for teachers to share knowledge, but it was also aligned to the work that teachers are doing around their professional learning goals every year. So as part of their evaluation process, we want to make sure that the teacher support network is directly aligned to the work that they're doing in terms of their professional goals. And lastly, we believe that by teachers having this opportunity, it allows them to refine their methods and continue to make sure that instructionally they are integrating best practices in teaching and learning. And I mentioned to you the part that I'm probably most excited about is the student work protocol. And last year we went into it with the lens of data. And I think obviously some teachers ran with it, others didn't really know where to go to start with data. So we were much more refined about talking about student work. And this really shifted from thinking about data in terms of teachers to the learning that students are doing in the classroom. So this is all focused on looking at actual student evidence, actual student work artifacts. And it enables educators to not only think about the alignment of their task to grade level standards, but to also understand what we're asking students to know and be able to do in the classroom. And this 4-step process, and we really tried to map out in this document the question scaffolds and the things that teachers would need to bring to really make it clear to somebody that's going to pick this up for the first time and use it. We asked teachers to leave with one concrete next step that they could bring back to the classroom that was in direct response to the needs of their students. So again, trying to make sure that when they leave, they know what they're bringing back to their learners. Dr. Kataya and I spent some time earlier in the summer thinking about our continued work around school improvement and tying in a lot of the work that we have done in prior years around short cycles of improvement. We created a new template for our school improvement work. And what's really exciting about this is the fact that we now have kind of this hierarchy of goals. So each school will have a district level goal. And this year we decided to continue our work around belonging. So we will have a constant district-wide goal that's every school shares around belonging. Each school will also have a level goal. So we're trying to think about opportunities for the elementary schools, the middle schools, and the high schools to collaborate on a goal. And then obviously to be responsive to the needs of their individual schools, each school will also have an opportunity for a school level goal. And as we do this, we're thinking about two things, and we started with the outcomes. We were thinking first and foremost, what are the specific changes that we want to see in educator practice? And ultimately, if teachers are making those shifts in educator practice, what are the measurable impacts that we'll see in students as a result of the changes in the adult practice? And to make sure that we stay bringing this document forward and continuously revising it and looking at our progress, Dr. Kataya and I have set dates as part of our pre-K-12 professional learning structure in November, March, and at our June retreat, where we'll come around and look at progress towards our targets, make necessary revisions, but also engage in dialogue across levels. Strategy sharing happens with our leaders as much as it does our teachers. And lastly, I always try to end by sharing the work that we're going to continue to do. This has been important, as I want you to know that we believe that we're sustaining the momentum. We're continuing to build towards the future. So some of the big areas that we're going to continue to work on with regard to the instructional division this year is a focus on coherence around our MTSS, or our multi-tiered systems of support process, which we really started to take a look at in grades K through 5. We'll continue that work in K-5, but also expand the work out through 8th grade this year through our middle schools. We are excited to be closer and closer to the launch of our new standards-based elementary report cards with grading guides across kindergarten through 5th grade this year. As I mentioned to you, our model for high-quality instruction, we're in our second version, which was released in 2022. And our learning has continued to expand and grow. We've actually found strategies and best practices that we weren't aware of when we launched V2 in 2022. So we're excited to bring together a team of educators, principals, and teachers to start to think about our third version for our model for high quality instruction. So stay tuned on that. And then lastly, as I mentioned to you, we're really invested in looking at student learning and doing that through student work. So I labeled this one as Lenses into Student Learning, with the launch of our new student work protocol, which a lot of the teacher teams got to dive into this morning. And also looking at expanding our student-centered coaching model from K-5 up through middle school. So taking a look at the use and support of our instructional coaching at the middle school level. So in addition to many of the projects we're digging into, those are some of the key ones that we're prioritizing in 2025, 2026. So I'm happy to take any questions from the board.
Ms. Doyle?
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation. Two easy questions.
Sure.
On page 1 in slide 2, What does infused defined learning project-based experience in MS enrichment curriculum mean?
Yeah, that's a great question, Megan. So during the pandemic, we had the opportunity to gather some resources from Defined Learning, which was a project-based tools that the state had provided through the ARP-ESSER grant funding. We used them primarily for our enrichment courses at the middle school level and had a lot of good traction with those. So we worked to recreate some of those into our own curriculum documents before the resources eventually went away.
Okay, great. And then second question,
Sure.
same diagram. Year 1 program review, focusing on Latin 1 and Latin 2. Is part of our budget cuts part of why we're only doing the high school level? Or another reason, where are we in the cycle? Kind of what's going on there?
No, so for program review, that was literally, those were the 2 courses that were up for program review. Again, it's cyclical in the fact that once it gets through, it'll repeat again. So we'll go back and look at our instructional resources, we'll look at our curriculum maps and begin that cycle over again. So the Latin 1, Latin 2 were 2 of the courses that came up. And keep in mind too that during the pandemic, a lot of this shifted because the certain projects were put on hold. So once we do kind of the next version of our long-range curriculum revision and implementation cycle, we'll kind of reset everything across all of the academic disciplines.
Yeah, I feel like we had expanded an extra year or something like that at some point.
Yeah, some were pulled back, there was an extra year put in, so it threw some of the content areas off.
Got it. And then last question, with Mr. Zenowitz here now, I know
Yes.
we had talked about previously, last year, a little bit more connection and interdisciplinary movement between PPS and more kind of the regular ed, I don't know how to say that
Yeah.
appropriately.
Yeah.
And is that part of the work that's going to be incorporated here in this?
Yeah, so one of the things that I was really excited about last year was the launch of what we call the Leaders of Learning Coalition, or the LLC. I've already talked to Mr. Zenowitz. He shares the same passion that I do for really bringing together our special education and general education. I think we both agree that everybody's a gen ed student first. So we're really looking at all learners versus regular ed versus special education. So I'm really excited about the opportunity to co-facilitate that group with Tom this year, and think about a lot of the instructional problems of practice that we'll dive into as we go forward into the rest of the year.
I feel the same exact way, so.
Good. Look forward to hearing more about that in the
Excellent.
future.
That whole notion seems to be very elusive, because we've been, I think this is something I've heard about since my early time on the board, through other audits that have been done, and just that idea that it's all the same. It should all be, treated within the same mold. And so I'm glad to see that it hasn't been forgotten, that
Yeah,
we're going to continue to plug along at that.
it's still a key priority of ours.
Okay. Other questions? Ms. Mahler?
Following up a little bit on the question about the curriculum cycles.
Sure.
Where we did add a year here, shift a little bit coming out of COVID, so it's not the regular standard 5-year cycle. But the idea, I just want to dig into your answer on that a little bit more, because I noticed the same thing. It feels very lopsided, that high school Latin 1 and 2 cannot be that significant of a development compared to we're doing all of our math curriculum again through, PK5 or something like that. Help me understand a little bit more about what I think you said in response to it's a little off right now because of all of those post-COVID adjustments. How are we getting back to a more standard cycle? Because I'm seeing, and I may be drawing a connection that doesn't exist, but I'm having a budget alarm go off in my head when we put in money for the curriculum development at different parts in the cycle. And as it is fairly lopsided feeling right now, that may not be as much for one part of it now, but will that be a significant increase when the other 80% of the work catches up to year 1 and hits that part of the cycle? And how is that set to or planned to even back out so that becomes a more predictable budget line rather than up and down every year, where
Yeah.
in January you keep having to be asked, why is it so small now? Why is it so big now? Like that kind of thing.
So, great question. First and foremost, that when we create the budget for curriculum revision every year, it is just that. We take a look at the projects that are coming up and anticipated, and we build our budget that particular way. I think the question that you're going to is in the future of how do we make sure that we keep that balance so we're not having these huge spikes in curriculum development and then it goes much lower the next year and a big spike. We will obviously make sure that as we look at the curriculum revision process, because we're going to basically go back to kind of a year one, and I'm looking at a 5-year process instead of a 7-year, just because we can't anticipate or predict what the future is going to entail. So I would always look to make sure that we have a balance of, obviously some of the core areas. And the reason right now you don't see a lot of the core areas is our core curriculum, science, math, have all been kind of developed in the last few years. So a lot of those are in that either phase where we're doing the curriculum maps or implementation guides, or we're monitoring the implementation at this point. So they're spread out across that 4-year or so process.
Yep.
And we're starting to get some of those now that are completing that first loop and coming back to the program review again. But that is obviously, as the team sits down to map out our curriculum priorities for the next 5 years, we will ensure that the balance is there. So we're not putting,
Every
elementary
core
and
development
secondary
hits year
math
one at
all
one
in one.
time. Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
So there is this balance, but we're still making sure that we have the opportunity to get back to those in a timely fashion.
Okay, absolutely. So they're getting done in timely fashion, but it is getting a little more evened out. So we don't have the
Correct.
entire bulk of core curriculum hitting
Right.
year one at the same time
Right.
per design. Okay. Couple other quick questions. I know when we had this conversation last year about professional development, part of that led to some calendar changes that we are now, as a parent, very excited to be implementing as of today. So thank all of us for doing that. But what are the changes and shifts that you have had to make, if any, because there are fewer PD days this school year? Because several of them, I think it was 3, were removed from the calendar, and I don't remember if it was 3 removed entirely or if one of those was put early on for this week prior to the school year. I know as a parent, we're impacted by 3 fewer, which
Yeah.
is really what mattered. But what of the, I'm not even remembering which page it's on, your breakdown of 1 hour development, full day, half day, that 90-minute, that chart,
Yeah.
where have you had to pull back on some of those things in order to accommodate for the fewer days?
Yeah, so I think you're talking specifically around the early release days that we
Right,
removed
we have fewer now, yep.
3 early release days. That was really the only big change that was made. And obviously, just like it's a change in the direction for families, it's also a change for us in terms of planning PL because, we utilize that time for a lot of productive things around professional learning. So we've had to think about ways to shift some of that into the 90-minute blocks, specifically if we're working on data or if we were utilizing some of that time for HQI and mini experiences. We had to figure out within the other remaining early release day structures where those opportunities would fit for staff. So it just got us to take a look at the calendar, and as we started to map it out, just thinking about, again, those cycles of if we have an early release day and we do something around HQI, we focus in on a particular strategy, and then we have a data day that follows the week later. How do we make sure that we have those multiple cycles and we're fitting in time for the building-based professional learning, but we also have time there for the other elements as well. So it was just thinking differently about how we distributed the work. The work hasn't gone away. It's still vital. It's still critical that we do that work. Just with the reduction of the days, we had to think intentionally about how to redistribute those to other times.
With the reduction of those days, when you redistribute to the other times, I know of these various types of PL that you have on here, some of them are during the day, and some of them are during those times when there are not students in the building. So some of them are a teacher going and observing another teacher's class. I know there are times where teachers get pulled out of their class to go watch someone else do something. Am I hearing you say, and this is going to sound like a leading question, I don't intend it to be, I just don't know any other way to ask it directly. Because there are 3 fewer early dismissal days, is the learning that was done in those empty half-days with no students being redistributed and in a time where teachers are now being more often called out of their classroom to go do professional learning
No.
under these other categories?
No.
Is that part of the redistribution?
No, we are not pulling teachers to do early release day work during the school day. We try to limit that to the extent possible. Obviously, the instructional coaching piece is an important type of professional learning that's happening during the day, whether that's our elementary coaches or our middle school coaches. As we've already shared with you, they're pushing into classrooms to support kids. They're pushing into classrooms to support teachers. That's happening organically through the instructional day, and they plan their daily schedules around the teachers that they go in to support, and that changes and evolves throughout the school year. There are maybe opportunities on a very sparingly level where teachers are going out to do a collegial visit, but we do that at a time when there's coverage there for that to be able to occur, and it's not happening on a regular basis.
Okay, so
So we-
that type of classroom teacher going on the collegial visit or something similar to that is not increasing now that
No.
the other time window has been reduced?
Correct. We are not, we're not pushing things from the afternoons into the school day now.
Right.
Because that time has been reduced.
Okay, thank you for clarifying. That was not entirely clear, and I'm glad that's not where we landed. Certainly
Ms. Mahler,
not
if I
the
could jump in,
intended
it's-
consequence.
If we were to add that up, it still is 6 hours less professional learning time for teachers. So
Right.
that,
Yep.
you can't just easily redistribute that into a structure that was already full. So it is still considered on the teacher side a loss of professional learning time.
Mhm. Absolutely. Okay, nope, thank you. Last question, this one's quick, that's why I saved it. We had looked previously at the growing attendance for the HQI Live over the summer. Where does the 65 number fall in the trend of how that's been going for the previous 2 years that you've done it?
Yeah.
I just said to him, I'm gonna take that, because I am so glad you asked that question. And you're giving me an opportunity to publicly address that. So we'll try not to be passionate about it. It's lower. And we were not happy about that. And I know factually that it was impacted by the public bashing of HQI Live experience that we provide teachers. And we took that as feedback during that season, of budget season, and we took it very seriously. Mr. Altieri, Mr. Brennan, and I actually met with union leadership, teacher union leadership, and asked the hard question, do we need to roll this back and cancel? Do we need to make it smaller? Do we need to hit pause, all those things? And we got the direct feedback, no, this is important to teachers. But we also heard from teachers that they were afraid to sign up because of the public discussion, we'll call it that. And we had some very brave guest teachers that Ms. Altieri named who didn't let that public banter scare them away and say, no, we pay them. We want, like Mr. Caesar and Ms. Aliberti and those names I can't conjure up right this minute. They said, no, we've committed to this, we want to do that. But we heard directly from teachers and then through the rumor mill that teachers weren't signing up because of all the bad publicity HQI Live was getting through the budget season. So we almost canceled. But we heard then from the other side say, no, this is important to us. This is our core business. Hence, Ms. Mahler, we already have a plan of doing a presentation on what is HQI and what is it not. It's almost asking a car production company to stop studying how to make an engine more efficient. Asking us not to work on HQI. That's our core business, teaching and learning. So 65 attendees this year. That's low, especially when we were hitting the 3-digit number. And this year, of all years, we hit the goal of teachers leading it. Like, yes! yes, like, yes, high five, we were doing that whole thing. So I believe it was a direct consequence of what happened publicly during budget season. And I just believe that every year, there's a whipping situation, like there is something to blame. Like there's something put in the middle as a distractor. And unfortunately, our core business was put at the middle and took a beating. So, we're going into V3, we're not letting go, this is our core business, we are planning season 7. It is professional learning, it's supporting teachers, it's supporting kids, it's what we value. So, that number was lower, but we're hoping to rebound. And I'm sorry for the long answer, but I've been waiting for this opportunity, thank you.
Absolutely, and I think.
And we didn't plan it.
Yeah, we don't plan much. I think one of the, to your point too, in that ongoing conversation, because we all remember that being a key scapegoat for a lot of feelings before, is the distinction between the overall program of HQI that you as a district have been developing, of high quality instruction as a thing that matters, and revamping that and moving on, as compared to HQI Live, which is the event in the summer that you do. And a lot of people in a lot of the conversations that I had would conflate the two. And so a lot of, well, that seems silly, was inadvertently directed at the broader overall program of professional learning that you've been building for our staff. And I think that's a key distinction to make and to keep in mind as we move ahead into upcoming season. So obviously
can't
not
dismiss.
Something that is new for you, but something just in general as part of that ongoing conversation to draw
And
distinction
we don't
on.
force anyone to come. And the people who come over and over, year after year, say, whether they're one-timer or repeat attenders, they say it's the best professional learning they've ever attended. Like, whether they're a non-tenured or someone who's been teaching 30 years. It's an option. No one's forcing you to come.
And it is, if you go and you ever have the chance to see it, just for the fact of, to see the energy that the teachers who are there come out of the week with, and all of our principals, our teacher teams are bringing that work back to the schools now and doing that work with all teachers, like it sets the tone, it sets the energy for the entire school year. We're talking about what's important to us instructionally, and and it's not the same thing every year. We're continuing to build on what we did the prior year. So there's just an energy that I don't think you could duplicate. I compared it at HQI Live to the Disney energy. Like you could never recreate what Walt Disney has done through his parks and all of that. That's the same thing with HQI Live. Like, no matter what district tried to pick it up or somebody else tried to duplicate it, it just isn't the same because of our approach to it. And I think that's the piece that would be missing if we lost that part of our HQI work.
Thank you.
I will say from my experience with visiting the HQI Live time for several years in a row, when there is an energy in the room and there's engagement. I mean, you walk in, and even in the large group session, teachers they're working together. They're talking about practice. They're talking about school stuff. They're not BSing. They're not talking about what they're doing this summer. It's truly very engaging, and I think that's important to keep pointing out that teachers are at the core of it, and they are working, really working to improve their practice. I wanted to, I think more of a statement than a question, but because I wanted to hone in on the data analysis and the collaborative planning time that is provided during some of the professional learning. So this would be during early release days typically, correct?
The 90-minute structure on
Yeah.
Wednesday afternoons.
And so that is something that I've repeatedly heard teachers say they value the most, and that is really critical to their work, especially today, as I think they have at their disposal more real-time data that they can use to help drive individual student needs. And so I just, I hear that often when I speak with teachers, that collaborative time to review data is really, really important. And I think there's an art to reviewing data, so being able to do it together with people, I think is probably a really big benefit as well. So I'm glad to see that there's such an emphasis on that. Any other questions, Ms. Wolf-Boynton?
So just, I'd like to echo what a great presentation that was. I'm really excited and interested in hearing more about this theme of belonging and how it is going to be implemented in goals at the district and school levels. I think that's really exciting. So I love the way that you both just spoke about the importance of HQI, right? Just taking a minute to go beyond the numbers and the themes and the programs to talk about, you know, what its value is, why it really matters. You had such an action-packed summer, right? It seems there was so much going on this summer. I was wondering if you could just take a minute, you know, stepping away from what happened to just giving us a couple of insights on why what was done over this summer might matter moving forward.
So, I mean, obviously, for the Literacy Institute, it continues to sustain the work that we're doing around the science of reading. We know that we've made some great strides the last 2 years, especially with our elementary literacy data. We are seeing teachers, I think Dr. Kataya and Mr. Brennan, we heard loud and clear as we did our tour of the schools this past spring. One of the resounding impacts was how supported and how confident teachers are with the literacy curriculum. And they finally feel like all of the components are there and they're understanding the connections between the components. So the Literacy Institute, again, just like HQI Live, creates that tie-in for all of the elements and gets educators to think about the next level of the work. And we really took a stance with middle and high school this year because that's areas that we want to continue to work on, that, you know, the data continues to show that that's an opportunity for us to grow. So really trying to bring middle and high school educators to the table to support that literacy work as well. You know, I already shared with you HQI Live. Like, you know, I think between what Dr. Kataya and I have shared, that really shows why we need that week, why that week is so important to everything else. It sets the context for the entire year. And then obviously I will say, and I, you know, believe that our professional learning system is one of the best I have ever seen. I would put it at the top of districts in the state in terms of the fact that we see the connection between the elements and also the time that all of you have supported for educators to come together and do this work. So it's, we're starting to see more and more of the connections between everything that we do, how it ties all together. And I'm hoping that our educators are also seeing that as well.
That's awesome. Thank you. Dr. Katai, did you have anything to add, or?
We're laughing because we are syncopating here. We're just like calibrating. We become more and more like each other. We finish each other's sentences the longer we work with each other. So I would have said the same exact thing. One more thing though. I just hear from teachers, whether it was on this slide or not, Ms. Wolf-Boynton, that we often see teachers in and out of Parsons during the summer because there may be like a fourth grade team coming in to revamp a unit on math. We may have a group of counselors come in and work on X. And it's nice to have them casually bump into each other, and they give us feedback on the spot. And what we often hear is, we just appreciate that you honor us enough to ask us to come in and be part of this. That you're not just developing it over the summer and then handing it down to us in August. So some of the qualitative pieces that may not be captured here is that we have teachers in and out over the summer working on pieces that are meaningful to them. So I would say that has a big impact and acts as an attractor for us to be able to recruit teachers to come because they hear about how well supported they are in Milford. It's not just salary. We honor them by providing them professional learning time and allowing them to work on their work.
Thank you. Other questions? Mr. Scobie?
It's not a question, it's more of a statement. I have to admit, when I was first invited to HQI as a board member, I was intrigued, both as an educator and as a parent. But I have to say, I couldn't have been more excited after I left HQI. Man, I'm a real crybaby, so I'm gonna try to keep this together. But as an educator, right, I've sat through a lot of different PDs, professional developments, and like Ms. Glennon had mentioned, a lot of times teachers kind of just like sit around the table and are like, "Go, what are you gonna do after this? You know, what's for lunch?" And they don't really like get to engage in the conversations. But that isn't what happened at HQI. I think the discussions were extremely deep. I learned a lot myself as an educator. I only attended on Friday, and I'm kind of kicking myself because if I had gone on Monday, I would have gone the whole week, to be perfectly
Well,
honest.
you're invited for next year, Mr.
Yeah, I'm gonna book the whole week off, to be honest. So as an educator, like I got a lot out of it myself. So what your instructors are getting is just amazing. And then as a parent, you know, the lessons that I witnessed were extremely interactive. They were very student focused. The teachers were there to kind of be mentors and coaches. They presented to them a problem and they said, you know, you have the information, figure it out. And that's exactly what they did. From I think it was, what was the youngest age you had there, maybe 5th graders?
Yeah, elementary.
Yeah, from elementary all up to high school, that was happening in every single segment. It was amazing to see. And so again, as an educator, it was amazing, but as a parent, my son is going into kindergarten in a few days, which is terrifying for me, and it will always be terrifying for me because he's my little baby. But I was so excited and comfortable with him going into kindergarten after going to HQI. So I just want to throw it out there. I think it's one of the most amazing PDs I've ever witnessed.
Thank you, appreciate that.
That's nice. And just a reminder for the board that at the September committee of the whole meeting, we look at assessment reports, and so we're going to get to see the fruit of the labors at that point. I think we've gotten a little bit of a preview that there's a little bit of good news at least, but that will be our work at the September committee of the whole meeting. So.
And we do have an instructional highlight planned on specifically HQI, so we could
Very good.
breathe more life into public understanding of what it isn't and what it isn't.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you for the presentation.
Okay, in a shorter fashion, Mr. Altieri is going to talk about the Family Resource Center grant that requires board action this evening.
So as part of our grant renewal every year, each Family Resource Center is asked to present and get acceptance of the grant from the local Board of Education. I will tell you that the grant for the Family Resource Center this year is in the amount of $111,363, and that is for the fiscal year 25-26. So I'm happy to answer any questions on that.
Can you give us just a tidbit of information
Sure.
about what the grant's used for?
Yep, so the grant supports our Family Resource Center staff, which consists of one full-time educator and one part-time staff member. There's also a program coordinator that is a partial FTE that's supported through the grant. And the FRC, for anybody who doesn't know what it is, they plan and support play groups for birth to 3 students. There's also parent workshops that they put on. They do home visits and support families with connections to community resources, especially families that are in need. And our Family Resource Center is located out of Pumpkin Delight Elementary School.
Thank you. It is important work. Questions from board members? Ms. Mahler?
Can you remind us how this is connected to the conversations we had around budget time about reducing from 2 to 1?
You're thinking of
resource centers.
You're thinking
I
of
know it's a
community
different thing.
connections.
Remind us how they connect with each other.
So the Community Connections Center, it supports families with resources. So there may be some collaboration between FRC and the
Okay.
Community Connections Center, just in terms of connecting families with local community resources or supports within the district, but they are 2 independent components.
Okay, so this is in addition to.
Yeah, it's in support of, making sure as kids transition into our RTL, our integrated preschool programs. This is supports for families around parenting resources and, parent support groups and play groups for the kids, to get some of the information around developmental milestones and things like that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Other questions? Ms. Boynton, you have a motion?
I do. I enthusiastically, because I totally support this kind of work, make a motion that the Board of Education approve the CSDE grant
for the Milford Family Resource Center in the amount of $111,363,000. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
No, I'm sorry, 111,000.
Budget season's over.
I need my glasses, I apologize. 363,000 for the fiscal year 2025, 2026.
I'll second that.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you, board members.
Moving on to the enrollment update, and I do remind you that we have not seen the whites of children's eyes yet. And there is an updated enrollment sheet coming your way. What's in your packet is dated 8/21/25 at 9 a.m. What is coming to you is dated today at 12 p.m. So what I will say is that as of 12 o'clock this afternoon, we are sitting at potentially 5,114 students. In our budget book, we did project 5,132 students, so we're 18 students shy of that projection. I will tell you that it's primarily coming from a lower enrollment at the elementary level. So we projected 2,520 in our budget book, and we are 69 students shy of that. Primarily coming from kindergarten under enrollment there. So we are 50 students fewer in kindergarten at this time, as of today. School still hasn't started yet. Labor Day, we usually get some kids coming in after Labor Day as well. At the middle school level, we projected 1,133 students. We have 19 more students coming to us than the projection. We're at 1,152. And at the high school student, at the high school level, we projected 1,479 students. We are right now enrolled with 1,511 students, which is 32 students more than projected. Happy to take any questions you might have at this time.
Any questions from board members? Mr. Smith?
Yeah, it's probably a strange question, but sparked by one of the stories I was reading the other day about some of the work that some Florida school districts are doing to increase their public school population. Is the reduction in kindergarten enrollment, is there any way to tell if the reduction in kindergarten enrollment is just because there aren't as many kids there, or is it because there's an increase in private school enrollment to offset the public school?
So, I don't know.
I figured it was a weird question, but that's why I asked.
But I will tell you that we're off by projection. Our actual October 1st, 24 number, kindergarten was 346. We have 352 enrolled right now.
Yeah.
So while I'm referring to it as a reduced enrollment, it's compared to projection,
Yeah, okay.
not actual
Right.
attendance. And that, we knew, and I'll have Mr. Giancarlo jump in here if I'm incorrect, but the kindergarten number for last year and this year we knew was the most unpredictable because of change of legislation. So I'm giving us permission to be wrong there for another year, maybe. So I think that's why it's off.
That makes sense. It was an interesting, and obviously Connecticut is different than Florida, and there's different cultural and political climates, but what's interesting was in Florida what the public schools were doing, where they're actually working with different types of outreach consultants to communicate with families about the value of attending public school in like playgrounds and make sure they were enrolling in public school kindergarten. So it was just an interesting trend. I wasn't sure if we saw any of that here yet, or hopefully not.
I haven't heard of that.
Yeah, thank you.
Can I ask a follow-on to that?
Yep.
Around the kindergarten numbers and the projections, I know last year and this year being unpredictable because of the cohort shift and calendars and timing and all, so am I correct that last year kindergarten was a little bit lower because you had certain kids who were now aged back, I guess, instead of aged out to aged back, we can call it that? And so holding back, would we have expected, and is this where the projections came from, that there were higher numbers this year because all those kids kind of get caught up and are now getting sort of right-sized into their new.
We were using that
cohorts.
strategy.
Right.
But what's hard to predict is the number of families that decided to enroll their kids in a private school because they were counting on kindergarten.
Right.
And let me just look at we projected 345 students in first grade, and we're at 359. So maybe a handful of those kids came
They came
from
from-
private.
Yep.
Like they did a kindergarten year, now they're registering for first,
Yeah,
so.
I was gonna ask how the first grade numbers played out, because we did kindergarten because we had to, because we were planning on it, but now we're back in first grade. That cohort, as they're moving through compared to the kindergartners now.
I actually think that we're gonna see the impact for a couple of years, because of parents who financially have been planning for that child to come
Yeah.
off of preschool
Yeah.
and into K.
It's an
So-
adjustment that takes a while to catch up to.
I think though, I know in Milford, for instance, I mean, St. Mary's School is a school that you hear about often for
Yeah.
parents going to pre-K and kindergarten, but they are holding to the Connecticut, I know this, they're holding to the Connecticut law. So if you have to be 3 by September 1st to enter St. Mary's preschool now, and you have to be 5 by September 1st to enter kindergarten.
Did they hold to it this past year?
I'm not sure about last year. No, I think they did last year, because my grandson's in the middle of this, so he falls into that cohort.
Yeah.
And I know that you have to be 5 to start kindergarten there. So I'm not sure that, and I know the magnet schools, they're all following the state, I mean, they're all state
Right.
schools, so they would follow the state schools too. I'm not sure, I mean, but it's hard to tell, because we don't know who the little, unless they're in preschool with us, we don't know who they are, really, right?
No, for sure. So it makes sense that the projection strategy went up, and it sounds like the numbers did actually go up, just not as far as we expected for this, which makes sense. Thank you.
Any other questions? Ms. Doyle?
I know what Mr. Smith was talking about. I listened to the same
Mm.
thing. Also comment, I saw a newspaper article today. School system loses 119 students in kindergarten, mostly in kindergarten. So I don't think we're a trend that's different from anyone else regarding this kindergarten. And we're just gonna have to adjust to it long-term, and I think we'll see what happens.
We didn't actually.
They were
Not
not
us, she's talking about somebody.
No, I know, but our numbers, they're not,
that bad.
Not that bad.
right, we're down from our projection, we're not necessarily down from our actual head count.
Right.
In
I
any
don't-
kind of a legitimate
In
way.
K.
Right.
In kindergarten, yeah, exactly.
I think it also points to is the projections that we have received are very accurate. And that's always a question that we receive sometimes, is how accurate are our projections? They're pretty on point, especially when we come to the long-term facilities planning issues in the future. But I'm done. Thank you.
And just a reminder that at our October business meeting, we'll see the official October 1st report,
Yes, ma'am.
which goes to the state, right? Thank you.
All right, handing things over to Mr. Brennan for the disbursement report.
Thank you, Dr. Dodd. Ms. Glenn, members of the board, in your package, you will find a list of all the cash disbursements over the amount of $1,500 for the month of July. This time, I'm happy to take any questions you may have.
Questions for Mr. Brennan?
You okay there?
I got that knee, I'm good. I got another one on the other leg.
It's nice to know I'm not the only one who does that.
Exactly. It's the turn. The turn isn't aligned to where your legs are. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's not you, sort of. Can I
Yes.
ask one, on the security camera management and maintenance line, that's
Yes.
particularly large for this time, is that standard at this time of year for setting things in this cycle within the school year, or is that a specific new round that was purchased? What was that one specifically?
Yeah, so that's for the full year. So it's
Okay.
a maintenance contract, but it's
Okay.
also the actual upgrade for it as well.
Okay,
So we have this like respond and proactive premium piece to it, where it includes like the alerting and making sure that if any of those alerts are running down, then they make sure that that is upgraded to that point as well. So it's really like an ongoing,
Yeah.
it's like our maintenance contract for them, and then whenever something goes wrong, they fix
okay,
those
we
things.
just do it on an annual basis?
Yep,
at the
device
same-
update, it also
Okay.
includes remote support, auto dispatch, so it includes a number of features that we get as a result of that.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely.
Ms. Doyle?
Thank you. On page 1 of this disbursement report, about halfway down, we paid the city $35,000 in sewer taxes. Do we pay other taxes to the city? I don't think we do, but.
No, I think that the sewer tax is the one that we pay, and that's for the whole year.
Thank you.
Other questions from board members? Okay, thank you, Mr. Brennan.
Thank you.
And finally, we'll move things over to Ms. Capazzo for our TMD report.
Thank you. So in my monthly report, you have the listing of job postings, personnel recommendations, retirements, resignations, terminations, and stipend appointments. Just want to point out a few things and give you some more information here. I think you have, let's see, a listing of student assistance team stipends at the end, the last attachment. I wanted to point out that we have hired 28 new teachers. We have 3 offers out to teachers on the table right now. We are looking at 5 certified openings to get the school year started. And actually it's 6 now, because about 3 minutes ago we got another resignation, unfortunately. So we're looking for 2 special ed teachers, 1 grade 7-8 science teacher, 1.6 French teacher, and an ASL or middle school Spanish teacher. We're kind of trying to fill that world language spot there. I believe that's 5. And let's see, we are also looking, and this is for everyone at home who might be watching 6 to 8 para openings. So we do have a couple of para openings, 2 BCBAs and 1 CODA, which is a Certified Occupational Therapist Assistant. So I did want to point that out, but we are in relatively good shape to get schools open and staffed. We have alternative plans to cover some of these holes that we have, and we're committed to finding teachers at the very last minute, because we can do that. Any questions?
I do.
I had a question on, halfway down on the retirement resignation termination form, there's a teacher, says retirement effective date 12/31/25. Is that correct? That he's telling you now that he's resigning at the end of the calendar year?
I don't see that. Oh, resignation, yes, yep. Does it say retirement? Because it should say
It says resignation,
Yeah, resignation.
12/31/25. So he's already telling you now that he's leaving at that point?
Correct.
He's staying until then?
Mhm.
Were you, the resignations that are on here for certified, more so certified teachers, were they expected? I mean, is it unusual to get a resignation so close to the school year?
It's not unusual, and it happens a lot. I do believe that with our budget issues, that really sparked people starting to look, because I do think that the number of resignations are higher this year than have been in past years, and I can do a further analysis of that. But I think we lost, 34 teachers, which is high. For various reasons. Obviously, people move, people want to get closer to home. You always have those types of reasons, but I do believe that some people started to look because they were nervous. So,
Okay.
I'd certainly be interested in seeing that report.
yeah, we can do some
Your opinion.
further digging on
Thank
that,
you.
once we get fully staffed and we have a little more time.
Thank you.
Yep.
Other questions? Ms. Preet?
So where did we net out then with, I think the last time you gave a report, we were at net 9 layoffs?
So I don't net out layoffs because
Okay.
we laid off, I think, 11 people? Let me think about this, let's see.
Is it the discussion
Well,
last-
we ended up moving 12 people to roles that were open
Okay,
because of retirements and resignations. So those 12 people were not laid off.
okay.
So we saved that. But I think, yeah, net or overall, there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, 9 plus 2 non-certified people that were
Okay,
laid off.
got it. And then that still, they were not able to be reassigned or anything, they just really could not.
They were laid
be-
off
okay.
and they went on unemployment. We were able to recall
2 of them early in the summer, and then 1 of them just recently, so 3 of those 9 were recalled.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then 6 really couldn't find anywhere within the system, so we really had to go somewhere else.
So actually, out of the 6,
Yeah.
1 of them we tried to recall, and she had found something else, so
Okay.
she declined coming back.
Yep.
And the others, we haven't had the opportunity yet to recall them. I do believe, I know most of them do have other jobs, not that it's, they're still laid off, unfortunately, and they still would rather be in Milford, I'm sure.
Okay.
But I'm not sure about 1, but most of them have landed somewhere else.
So that's basically 5. So it was 6, 1 declined, 5. Are you still possibly thinking they could come back through the system, or?
It would take somebody in their certification area to resign or
Okay.
retire. Like this notice that I got was a special ed teacher, so that
Okay.
doesn't help. But if it
Okay.
was a social studies teacher,
Okay,
I would have recalled somebody.
gotcha.
Not that they would have said yes, but
Okay,
Yeah.
it's an opportunity, okay.
yeah. So, overall, the number is not that bad. But if you look at the number of people that have started to leave because of the budget issues,
Yeah,
and the 12 people that we were able to move into other slots due to movement, it could have been a lot worse.
okay.
We're still obviously short a lot of positions this year.
And the way you know that people resigned because of those budget issues is because they told you?
Well, we do a exit survey with them, or if they don't fill it out, we try to at least garner why they're leaving, what their main reason is. Typically, it's for a new job, but what is that, why did they look for that new job? Is it like, oh, I'm going to Guilford because I live in Madison? Is it, whatever, there could be a million reasons, but, so we do try to find out, but it's not always, if they don't do the survey, it's not always possible to get the true data. True reason, I should say, yeah.
Other questions? Ms. Doyle?
Thank you. For the paras and the BCBAs, just can you remind me, do we contract out for those at all if we need to? Or do we try and hire?
Paras, no, we do not. They're contracted, they have an employment contract. BCBAs, they are a non-union position.
Mhm.
We haven't contracted out, but,
Right, because there are staffing agencies that do,
yeah, but it's
but it's expensive.
very
and-
expensive.
Yes,
And we're fighting for the same people. There's just
And-
a shortage of people that are in that field.
got it, thank you.
As are, many of our areas of hiring.
It's like finding a unicorn,
Yeah,
the BCBA. And every
but we do have an
district
offer
wants
out to 1, so fingers crossed. Yeah.
Okay, that's been a ongoing issue for years.
one. That completes the superintendent's report, Ms. Glennon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We move on to consent agenda, Ms. Boynton.
Motion that the Board of Education accept the minutes for the July 14th, 2025 business meeting and the August 13th, 2025 special meeting.
Is there a second? Mr. Verminder seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Board comment. Board comment. The other what?
Is there another, do we have to do the special meeting minutes?
No, we just did them both together.
Included both
Yep.
together.
Do we have a board comment? Smaller?
Want to.
Yeah, go ahead.
I will say thank you to everyone for all the hard work this summer. I will not be able to attend on Wednesday morning, but appreciate and wish everyone a great new school year. So look forward to the next portion of our work. So thank you.
Ms. Mahler?
I have a board comment to share. I may steal the who cries first last thing back from Mr. Scobie, because that's my crown. As proven over the last 2 years, I have some personal updates to share with the board. I have had the opportunity, a very lucky opportunity, to accept a new professional role in my personal life, which does actually exist outside of this room. And that new job prohibits me from holding a partisan elected office. So I, at the end of August, will be resigning my board seat. I'm not running for re-election this year. So I'm very excited about this new opportunity. Great, yay. But I will miss all of you and Monday nights that we spend together so much. And I want to thank you all for this experience for the last 2 years. It has been way different than what I expected in so many ways, both good, bad, ugly, and otherwise, but I have appreciated your guidance and patience and answering all of the questions and then some. And very much wish you all luck with everything coming up. I am not prohibited from still caring about education and the future of our kids in Milford, so I guarantee you that will still be a thing that is a part of my life. That's not going away. As the parent of a new middle schooler as of Thursday, seatbelts on. But again, thank you all for welcoming those of us who were new a couple years ago and for making that transition and this experience as rewarding as it has been. It is a privilege to have been here. And as of the end of August, I wish you all luck from the outside.
Thank you, Ms. Mahler. I think we all would agree that we would extend our good wishes to you. Congratulations on the job, and yes, we will miss you. Other board comment? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second that.
Are there any opposed to adjourning at 8:47? Seeing none, we're adjourned at 8:47. Thank you.
Thank you very much.